I think we can all agree Mitch Marner, certainly a lock to make Team Canada at the Four Nations Cup. I guess the question then becomes, where does he fit in the lineup best? If you look at some of the centermen that are probably going to be on this team, it's McDavid, McKinnon, Sidney Crosby. Where do you imagine Mitch Marner fitting the best on this team?
He's the ultimate playmaker. When you think of Marner, it's his passing. And not just completing the passes, but the difficulty of passes that he can complete. 15th in the league in shot assists per game, but he's actually third in scoring chance assists, meaning he sets up for very high quality shots. So he needs a finisher, which is great because Canada has a lot of goal scorers. So anyone you pair him with that can put the puck in the net, Mitch Marner can find them.
And I guess then the question becomes, how do you want to spread your wealth when it comes to this forward group? Because, think about someone like Zach Hyman, probably going to play with Connor McDavid. That would make sense. If Ryan Nugent-Hopkins makes this team, do you have an all-Edmonton line? And then maybe that allows you to put Nathan McKinnon as your second-line center. Maybe Mitch Marner plays with him. Do we envision a line with Sidney Crosby and Mitch Marner? But yes, we can agree that Mitch Marner is going to be on this team. Zach Hyman is a lock to play with McDavid. Here's where things maybe get a little bit interesting. FanDuel has a list of players you can bet on to make the team at minus 1,500 odds. That's an implied probability of about 94% that all these guys will be on Team Canada. It's Marner, Hyman, Connor Bedard, and Sam Reinhart. On defense, both Evan Bouchard and Devon Toews, all with the same odds to make the team. Are there any names on that list that maybe you're not so sure about at the moment?
Not sure, but I hate to say this, that Reinhart with 57 goals would be on the bubble. Does that even make sense?
Doesn't make any sense.
When I talked to a lot of coaches who have dealt with him before, though, they said he's the ultimate and intelligent hockey player. He's able to get his stick on the puck. He can score from so many different areas. He's the ultimate in a toolkit. So I think he makes it. I think he rightfully makes it. 5th in expected goals per game in the NHL. Drives a lot of shot quality, so Reinhart should be on the list, but right now, he's on the bubble.
Well, and, was so good in the bumper position on the power play with the Florida Panthers. Another player who's probably going to make this team is Braden Point, and he's had a lot of success in that same position playing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll see, obviously, who gets that power play one spot. Braden Point had 51 goals 2 years ago, 46 last year, and Sam Reinhart, 27 power play goals last year for the Florida Panthers. We have to figure Connor Bedard is going to be on Team Canada when it comes to the Four Nations Cup. An impressive rookie season. Now more tools around him in Chicago. Of course, he's going to take another step. But when it comes to maybe some other young guys that might be on Team Canada's radar, are there any names that stick out to you?
Wyatt Johnston from the Dallas Stars, a very clear goal scorer, 16th in slot shots per game. Also a lot in goals versus expected, meaning he can put the puck in the net. He doesn't need a lot of opportunities. And when you're thinking of a series where you don't have a lot of games to play, you need someone to score. So I think he's on the fringe, but even you can make a case for him immediately to be on the team.
And he's such a trustworthy player. Like, we saw him jump right into the NHL with the Dallas Stars, gets put on a line with Jamie Benn, and he's played 82 games each of his 2 seasons in the NHL. The longevity has been there so far in his young career. He's a trustworthy player, so it makes sense that he would be a player who continues to take the next step. And speaking about someone who took a step last season, it was Alexis Lafrenière of the New York Rangers. He had a breakout season with 57 points and then 14 and 16 playoff games. FanDuel has him as a real long shot at plus 750, an implied probability of less than 12%. Is that a fair assessment for Alexis Lafreniere's chances to make this team?
Well, when you added trustworthy, I think that's the key, right? Is he consistent? We had one season where he looked like that #1 pick, possibly scratching at, year over year continuing. 11th in slot shot attempts per game last season. So did well for New York, but can he continue that this season? So how he starts will be incredibly important to if he's even considered for this team, because there's so much competition, Wyatt Johnston being one of them.
Well, and that's the thing for Lafrenière. He has so much to prove in the first half of the year before they ultimately pick this team. He's going to be one of those guys that is going to have to blow everyone away with his play, continue to take another step. But if you're asking me right now, Wyatt Johnston would have the inside track on a spot on Team Canada. All right, Meghan, we're talking bubble players for Team Canada at the Four Nations Cup. I have 3 names I'm going to throw at you. Tell me who you're going to pick and why. Here are the names: John Tavares, Mark Scheifele, and Nick Suzuki. Who are you taking and why?
It's an easy one. It has to be Suzuki. And there's one main reason: his two-way play. He's such a good defensive player that I think when you're looking to build a well-rounded team, you can't only have scoring, right? We see those teams in the NHL, they're very good at putting the puck in their net, But when you're in a knockout tournament, you need to defend. And the big gap for Team Canada, too, is goaltending. So you need a great defensive system, and Nick Suzuki does that. He can transition well, 9th in zone exit carries, 9th in zone entry carries, but he's also incredibly defensively responsible, has that two-way play, just under 6 defensive zone puck recoveries, 13th among forwards in the NHL, and 2nd among forwards in pass interceptions. So he's getting his puck on the stick, he's able to take pucks away from players. He's that type of player that you want up and down your lineup, and you can use him in multiple ways.
The two-way play and the versatility is really what's going to separate Nick Suzuki from some of the other players that might be just getting on this team. Someone like John Tavares, still a good player, still productive. It's really crowded down the middle of the ice. So what else does he do that allows him to be on that team? And then for Mark Scheifele, a lot of offensive prowess, but maybe the defensive acumen not exactly to the level of someone like Nick Suzuki. So I agree. I believe Nick Suzuki should be on this team. He really becomes a versatile player lower in the lineup. And if you had to, you could play him higher in the lineup and still get some good offensive results. So I think we're both in agreement. Nick Suzuki's on Team Canada at the Four Nations Cup.